What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Kansept Knives Bison. Now the Bison is in via the Lefty passaround group, and it is part of a little Kansept duo with the Bison and the Kansept Knives Quasar. If you guys will be interested in this knife, I'll be doing my full review on this later in the week, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. But today we're going to talk about the Bison, and the Bison is by far the biggest knife I've ever reviewed on the channel. This thing is a behemoth. It is like a pocket sword. But all things considered, because you guys know I really, much prefer the medium-sized knives. I like this more than I thought I would. Now, yes, it's too big. It's way too, non-practical for me to carry every day. But as you guys know, and I've said this so many times, it's a perk of me having the channel, getting to check out stuff like this, because I would never buy this knife. But I got to check it out, and I kind of enjoyed it, guys. I really did. It was unique. It was different. It was fun to fidget with. Really good design overall. If you guys are not familiar, this is a Ray Laconico design, which honestly, this strays, I think, a little bit away from his design language. I mean, it makes sense because it's a very simple, very squared, boxy kind of style design. I'm a huge fan of Ray's design language because it's very simple. A lot of people think simple is a bad thing, but in my opinion, simple is a really good thing. But to me, like this, before I saw that this was his design, it didn't strike me right away as a Ray Laconico design. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to jump right into the video. Quick specs for you guys. We have an overall length of, a closed length. Can't see on here. Actually, doesn't give a closed length. So yeah, back to the overall length. Overall length of 9.61 inches. We have a blade length of 4.25, which, so with my math, that would put the closed length or handle length about 5.25 inches. It's S35 VN steel, so very, very nice. You have the Kansept logo there, S35 VN, and then the model number. Then, of course, Bison and Ray Laconico. You have a Bowie-style clip point. Very nice swedge built in there. Flat ground blade with titanium scales. They're qualifying this as a frag pattern. I would say that this is more of like a diamond textured pattern. But in this sort of nice matte gray titanium. It's a frame lock with plenty of lock bar access there, a little bit of scalloping. You have a non-reversible, which makes sense with the frame lock, milled titanium pocket clip. Really like how they put that milling on there to match the scales. You have a back spacer. You have dual thumb studs for deployment. Plenty of internal milling, so as big as this thing is, and yes, it does weigh a good bit because, I mean, it's a big knife, but there is a lot of internal milling to keep it from weighing what it really could have been weighed. Some quick size comparisons. We have the Spyderco Para 3, and then we have the TRM Neutron 2. So yes, very, very, much larger than those two. These two are my kind of jam when it comes to carrying knives. So you guys can see, I mean, it's not two of the knives, but you can pretty much fit like a knife and a half of normal size knives into, the normal size here when it comes to the Bison. Like I said, it is a Ray Laconico design, and there are a ton of options to choose from. I will leave a link down below to Kansept's website if you guys are interested in checking out this knife for yourself. On the website, there are 4 different variations available, which is great, and only one of them is currently sold out. So to start off, we have this version. So we have 2 versions with the frag. We have this version, and then we have a looks like a satin blade, satin or stone wash. So you have basically the same handle with 2 different styles of blades. You have a purple anodized frag with the sort of dark wash here on the blade. You have a blue anodized with a satin or stone washed. And then you have a couple versions with some inlays. You have a bronze anodized titanium, a black wash titanium with an inlay, a black wash frag, so black wash everything, and then a blue anodized with an inlay. So a lot of different variations to choose from, which is really nice. I love when, you know, companies do that. And like I said, they will be all linked in the description down below if you guys are interested in checking them out. We're going to move on to action. Really, really snappy detent on this. And I feel like when you have bigger knives, you need a really a really snappy and stout detent. And this definitely, you know, brings the thunder with the detent. Very, very smooth, very crispy on the deployment. Thumb studs work great. I mean, you have plenty of real estate to hold on to as you're rocketing that knife out of there. Reverse flick works really nice. Just fires right out. On the close, drops and hits your thumb. One shake, or drops and hits your thumb. You guys can see that. That's one kind of interesting thing I found out about this knife is normally when you have, I mean, like I said, guys, this is the biggest knife I've ever handled. It is essentially a pocket sword for me personally. So you have a 4 1/4 inch blade. Normally when you have that much weight and that much, you know, mass coming down, it's going to be just a guillotine. But here you guys can see it drops to my thumb, and then I can move the knife without it closing. So it makes it for more, in my opinion, I love a good, you know, guillotine dropper for the most part every once in a while. But if I'm going to choose, you know, out of all the knives I have in my collection, I love a more just controlled drop. It's just buttery smooth, no blade play. This thing is locked up really, really nice and tight. And you're just getting that nice, controllable, but yet very, very fidgety drop. I really, really like that. Slow roll works really good. And again, you have a good bit of lock bar access there with a little bit of scalloping, which makes it nice for disengaging the knife. Really, really like that. So the action is great. Honestly, out of all the Kansept knives, you know, I've handled so far this year, because it's kind of been, you know, I feel like this is probably what, the 5th, 6th, 7th maybe Kansept knife I've handled in 2025, because I feel like Kansept, anytime you get on their website or anytime you look, they're just coming out with another collaboration with a designer, which is awesome. I really like seeing them, you know, be putting out so many knives, because honestly, before this year, I didn't really pay them too much attention, but they definitely have my attention now with the quality and, you know, all the awesome things that I've gotten to check out. But as I was saying, the action is something, you know, out of all the Kansept I've checked out, I think this one might be the snappiest, and it's just fun to play with. You get that really nice acoustical snap. Little bit of a ring there, but overall, very, very nice, very, very good. Action is great. Next up is ergos. I mean, guys, just how can you look at a knife like this? Almost a 10-inch knife, and how can you think, oh, it's not going to be comfortable? Because if you do, you're wrong. I've said this before in pretty much every knife video I do of bigger knives. Bigger knives are like the easiest and the most comfortable knives to hang on to if the design is good. Because there's just so much real estate. There is just, I mean, so much area to hold on to. As you guys can tell, I can easily get all 4 fingers on this knife. I have plenty of knives sticking out of the back there. You can kind of use this area. I don't know if they designed it as a choil, or Ray designed it as a choil, but you can kind of utilize it as like a landing choil, as long as you are careful that the edge of the blade is right there. But this to me is the most comfortable way to hold the knife. The titanium is nice. You know, the frag, or I'm considering it diamond pattern, is textured enough to like add a little bit of grip enhancement, but not enough to like rip your pockets going in and out of your pants. Just a real clean, simple design. You pretty much have a straight line, almost a straight line, tapers off. You know, it just fits in here really, really well. You can go the whole way out here with your thumb for push cuts. You know, a clip point or a Bowie style blade is probably one of my least favorite when it comes to blade shapes for my personal rankings. I can appreciate them every once in a while, and I like them every once in a while. But as far as a user, you know, profile, to me, this isn't the most user-friendly, but it is a very, very nice and thin blade. So if you're going to be doing push cuts, going through cardboard, you have a lot of real estate there. I keep saying real estate, but it's just the word I'm getting, you know, kind of pop into my head. Then, of course, you have the thumb, push, push, push. But yeah, all in all, just really, really nice ergos, and the pocket clip has the texturing on it as well, as the same texturing as the scales do, which is really, really cool. Sometimes it's just like things like that to take the extra step the companies do that just make me really, really enjoy their products. But as far as ergos are concerned, not causing a hot spot at all from the pocket clip. It's nice and flat, no sharp edges, anything like that. Now carry for me was a little bit of a challenge just because it is a very, very large knife. I mean, coming from a guy that carries knives like the TRM Neutron 2, often, like, look how much more real estate that takes up in the pocket. So I didn't carry it a ton. I did give it a chance, a couple times just to see if I liked it. And as big knives go, taking away just the fact that it's big, it does carry pretty well. It sits like that in the pocket. So I mean, the pocket clip works really well from a functionality standpoint. Works fantastic. No complaints at all there. You have no flipper tab, no jimping, anything like that along here that's going to possibly catch on you. You do kind of have this, it's almost like a sword guard right here, but when it's in your pants, I mean, there's no jimping or anything like that, so you're just going to bounce right off of it. So if you got to take it with a grain of salt. If you're a guy like me that's used to the smaller knives, used to the more pocketable, deeper in the pocket knives, then this is going to be a little bit of, a challenge for you. But if you are a guy, that loves big manly knives like this, and you're used to carrying big stuff like this in your pocket, then you're not going to have an issue with it because, again, putting aside the fact that it's just a big knife in general, it does carry really well. Probably one of the better carrying knives, but one of the better carrying bigger knives I've reviewed. So yeah, really no complaints at all. It just had to get over the fact that it was a pretty big object in my pocket. But yeah, guys, price point on the Bison. So on the website, let me check here to make sure they're all the same price, because sometimes you have models that aren't. Yeah, very, very cool. You have, so what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the 8 models are $199.89, and 3 of the models are $195.89. So $200 for this, I think that's a really good deal. I mean, you're getting a ton of knife for that price, and the fact that it's a collaboration with Ray, I feel like this could have easily been up $225, $230, $240. Really nice, again, frag, but I'm considering it diamond. Milled, I keep wanting to say aluminum, titanium, really, really nice S35VN clip point Bowie style blade. Very, very good ergos. Action is on point. Yeah, guys, I really like this knife. Honestly, if they would ever do, I would say a mini, but honestly, a mini knife for this would still be like a 3.75 inch blade, which is still too big for my liking. But if they ever did like a micro version at coming in at like a 3-inch blade, I think I would be honestly interested in picking one of these up, even though I'm not a huge fan of these style blades. I really enjoyed this knife. I liked it more than I thought I would. I think $200 is a great deal. And I'm sure you could find it on, maybe White Mountain or another website that utilizes codes so you can get it for cheaper. But as is, $200, I think that's a great deal. I think that's a pretty good value. I know S35 is maybe not the most exciting steel in this price range, in today's day of age when you can get, companies like Asher, that's putting out S90V, and things like that, 3V for the price. Yeah, I get it. S35VN is not the most exciting, but it's a tried and true steel, and I have no complaints on it, about it for a price point like this. And again, you're getting a ton of knife. You're getting almost 10 inches of knife for $200. So no complaints at all. I think that's a pretty good value. And like I said, this was a knife that surprised me. So leave a comment down below, guys. Do you guys have the Bison in your collection? If you do, let me know which variation you have, and if you love it, if you hate it, if you're indifferent on it. You guys know I love to hear what you guys all have to say, but I'm going to wrap this up now, so thank you guys again so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, night, day, whenever you're watching this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.